Hey y'all, it's Coach in the Fight here with a warning for the 144,000. Now we're in the New Testament or the Third Testament of the Bible. We're all the way up here in chapter 62. Now the unique thing about chapter 62 of the Third Testament of the Bible is that it does not have section breaks. It doesn't have little breaking points. It's a very long chapter, and it's kind of just one chapter with no breaking points. It's called the words for the present listener. So I'm not going to cover the whole chapter. I'm just going to kind of jump around and pick out different verses because it like it says up there. What does it say? A word for the present listener. So it kind of applies to everybody, right? But I'm going to jump down here, all the way down here to verse 138, which is a warning for the 144,000. Talking about the disciples, talking about the divine envoys. These are the people who, during the tribulation, halfway through the tribulation, will come back and help the rest of us, those that are, they call the left behind, those who we really are those who plan to inherit the earth. The 144,000, their mission will be to come back and to help guide us through the second half of the tribulation so that we can be around, after it's all said and done, and we'll have a chance to, partake in the blessings that are to come. Now, the reason why, I'm interested in doing this warning is because I look at a lot of you guys' channels. I try to find your channels. I look for you guys, claiming to be 144,000 or teaching about 144,000. I look at some of your classes and I subscribe to your channels. I like your videos and if they're good or whatever. And I try to learn from you guys. I hopefully you're trying to learn from me as I have a little bit to add. And I know you have something to add too. And so I try to find you guys. But in doing so, I find a lot of people who claim to be 144,000 who seem to be in error. They're teaching church doctrine. They're talking about being raptured. They seem to be off track. They're not really talking about, what the Bible actually says and the promises. They seem to have, something going on there, but they don't seem to be quite doing it right. And so I'm looking here at chapter 62, and this looks like a little bit of a warning for those guys, and not just those guys, it's everybody. Even for me, I'm taking heed to this warning, and even the ones that are doing correctly should take heed to this warning here because there's some good insight in it. Like I said, we're not going to cover the whole chapter. We're going to keep it short. We're just going to cover this little section here, starting here at verse 138. He said, I say to you, talking about the 144,000, what are you waiting for to spread the good news? By chance, do you pretend to go and preach among the rubble? Talking about you. Those of you who aren't putting up videos, and that ain't the only way. You could be in a ministry out there, and there's other jobs. There's other, things that could be doing. Teaching on the web is not the only thing you could be doing. I'm not saying that. But he's saying that you're slow in act. You're not doing the job that you're assigned to do. We all have assignments. Why aren't you doing yours? He's talking about, are you acting like you're going out and preaching to the rubble? I remember one time I was watching a video, not a video, I think it was a news article on CNN or Fox or somebody, where this gentleman, who was a preacher type, had went down to the local zoo and broke into the lion's cage and was preaching to the lions. He was actually preaching them the gospel right there in the lion's cage. And he was a little bit scared, and he should have been, because, the lions looked at him for a little while like they was puzzled, and then, of course, they attacked him and killed him. And that's why it was on the news, because they actually killed this guy. And maybe some of us are doing this, is what this is saying. Are we preaching to rubble? Or are we preaching to trees? Or, we're not really doing our job, is what it sounds like to me he's talking about. Let's go on. I am telling you and revealing all, so that you may always have a wise answer for every question made to you by your brethren. Now we're talking about the ones of you who are on the YouTube channel. YouTube provides a great platform for just this, where people are allowed to come in and give comments on your channel. If you can't answer these questions, then this may be what's going on. Now, we're not really expected to answer the questions immediately. We do have to wait for the Holy Spirit to move on some of these questions. A lot of times when I get tough questions, I think about them. Sometimes even for days, at a time, where I think about these questions before I go back and I give an answer. But I always have to give an answer, and that's what he's saying here, is that he's going to reveal all so that you can give an answer. But look what happens. Behold, that you will be attacked with great arguments that will fill with fear those who are not prepared. But those of us who are not prepared, they can't answer the questions. They can't answer the questions. Well, I thought the 144,000 were supposed to come back halfway through the tribulation and help us. Why are you talking about being raptured? They don't have an answer for those. Why? It's because they're not prepared. And by the preparation, what he means is the studying of his word. Right? Look, verse 9 even says that. 139 says, engrave my word and do not forget the great miracles which I have granted you, so that each one of you can be a living testimony of my truth. Then whosoever scrutinizes you and pries into my word will find that it does not contradict in anything of what I said and foretold during past eras. Now we're talking about the third testament of the Bible. Some of you are into this. The scripture says that some of you are going to reject it at first. You're going to be like, hey, I don't know about a third testament of the Bible. And so some of the 144,000 are actually going to reject this thing. But it says you'll come around after a while, and so we'll wait. But he says, when you do so and you start preaching it, he says, remember the miracles that he performed in your life, and remember his word, so that you could be a living testimony. And when you do so, those that listen to you will find that no, there are not any contradictions. There are no contradictions to what he talked about before in the Old Testament and the New Testament. Talking about the third testament of the Bible, there are no contradictions. It is spirit and truth. It's revealing a whole lot of stuff. It's making a whole lot of stuff clear, but it does line up. Look at 140. The struggle will be great. Now we're talking about this warning, guys. Here comes this warning. Look at this. The struggle will be great to the extent that some, having been my disciples, have become fearful and deny me, saying that they never heard me. Talking about the 144,000. He's talking about the tribulation is going to become so rough, so bad. The wars were going to become so bad. Remember that some of these people are going to die. Some of these people are going to be harmed. Well, look who they are. These people who was once his disciples. They were once true disciples, but they didn't bother to prepare. They didn't bother to read his word and get into it like they were supposed to. They didn't prepare for their unique mission. And when the battle becomes, rough on them, they're going to deny him. They're going to say, no, I don't know what you're talking about, this spiritualization. I'm a materialistic person like you. I believe in, some other stuff like what the Reverend Pastor Deacon Dr. Doug is talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And so they're going to deny that they ever heard the Father speak to them in the first place. But, it's going to be bad. Look, and notice right here it says, have been my disciples. Have been, like they aren't his disciples anymore. Like once you deny him, you're no longer his disciple. Well, I guess it makes sense when you think about it like that. 141, to those who know to be faithful to my commandments and are able to cope with the struggle, I shall cover with a mantle with which they will defend themselves, and they will come out unharmed from any situation. Now, this is why I wanted to give this class, guys. Once the battle gets so hard and these people got a gun in your face, or they got you right there ready to cut your head off because you are standing up for what you know to be true, and that's that the Father lives inside of us. And you know what that to be true, while these the whoever it is that's going to be on the attack for on the trying to threaten these people. You think about what's going on in the world now over there in China. They are they got the Pope that's in there picking out the priests and killing those who won't obey what the Chinese government calls the gospel or whatever. Even over here in America, they're killing people who for claiming to be Christians or whatever. It's going to get really rough even to reach the 144,000. And some of those guys will be presented with the opportunity to deny the Father. You're going to be facing a huge trial or something to where your life's going to be in danger, or you're going to feel like your life's going to be in danger. But look at 141. Do not deny him. Stay true to the commandments. What do you say? To those who know to be faithful to my commandments. Right? Remember the other ones, the ones who weren't prepared, this is what they're not preparing. They're not preparing, in his commandments. They're preparing in other stuff. And, are able to cope with the struggle. He says, I shall cover with a mantle with which they will defend themselves, and they will come out unharmed. So the ones who stand up and do not deny will not be harmed. The ones who actually deny are the ones that are going to be harmed. This is important. This is why I want to do this class, guys, is because for one, you know that this is coming. This is going to come a day when these trials are going to be really rough on us. And two, the only way you're going to be able to, well, you got to be prepared. You got to understand his commandments and live in those commandments. And two, you got to stand up for him in order to survive. If you are 144,000 and you aren't in his commandments, or you're not willing to stand up for his commandments, the opposite is true. I may be a little bit presumptuous there, but if the ones who stand up for him are protected, then I'm assuming that the ones who don't are the ones that's going to be harmed. Look at 142. To the one who wrongly sows this seed and profanes the purity of this work, there shall be a judgment, the persecution of men and uneasiness at every moment. See, I wasn't guessing too much. I did read ahead a little bit. So he's saying the ones who are out there, just claiming to be 144,000, or they're not taking time to do their study. And we have 3.5 years to prepare, guys. Remember that the scripture says that the 144,000 will be killed and lie dead in the street for 3.5 years. Well, that's what's going on now. That's why you can't reach anybody. That's why nobody seems to be listening, or nobody wants to hear or hear anything you got to say or anything. While the other guy, the Reverend Pastor Deacon Dr. Doug, he's got 1 million hits on his channel. He's got 100,000 subscribers. Everybody's hitting the like button and singing his praises. While you're over here, you're like, wait a minute, he's teaching false doctrine, yet he's got all of this. It's because you're dead. You're dead to the world. The world can't hear you now. But remember what happens. He gives us life. He gives us strength. He gives us power. During the middle of the tribulation is when we're able to come on the scene, right? So it's during these 3.5 years, what are we expecting to do? Just like, are we really physically dead? No. We're out here in the wilderness and we're learning the laws. We're learning spirit, how to be spiritual beings. We're learning our tools for the warfare. We're picking up our weapons and such. We're actually being prepared. But those of us that are not, we're just trying to get views and likes and subscribers and whatnot. They ain't gonna be prepared. And he says, for these people there should be a judgment, the persecution of men and uneasiness at every moment. They're going to be punished, guys. Some of the 144,000 are going to catch a beating. Right? And so that's what this warning is about, guys. We need to be getting prepared. It is necessary for each one to know the tree he has cultivated by the taste of the fruit. Yeah, that's the thing. The Father says you know the tree by the fruit. Well, he's going to let you taste that fruit. You're out here trying to get likes, trying to get views, trying to get subscribers. Well, let them subscribers help you in the end. Let them come back and try to do something for you. No, you need not worry about them guys. You need to be worrying about, getting prepared so that you can be ready for this battle. Look at 143. I have reserved great miracles for the period of the spiritual struggle of my people. Miracles and deeds that will amaze the wise men and the scientists. All right, talking about those things that those guys who are prepared will be blessed with. You say, well, I don't see a whole lot of miracles. I don't see a whole lot of stuff going on now. That's because you're dead. You're lying in the street right now. No, people are walking on you and stepping on you. They're trampling the courts. They want nothing to do with the Father right now. They want nothing to do with the Creator. So don't worry about the miracles now. Don't be worried about what you ain't got now. Don't be worried about how many people are paying attention to you now, because now's not the time to be getting big hordes of subscribers and stuff, and people coming to flock and inviting you to their churches and have you flying all over the country to speak to them, and everybody coming to your house to see what you're doing. This is not the time. Now's the time to be preparing in the books or whatever your mission is for for the tribulation. Now's the time to be preparing for that thing. Let's go on. He says, I will never forsake you on your own strengths. Okay. He says, do not become blinded when humanity ridicules you. Right? And they are. They ridiculing us now. You know, these are materialistic people out there who believe only in their money. They believe only in the things that they can see. You know what I'm saying? And here you are trying to, do something that's contradictory to what they've always been taught. Always, from the people who are recognized down at the churches, and you're doing something different, they laughing at you. They're picking on you. They're calling you confused. They're calling you, all kinds of names. That you are in a persecution part now, and you have to survive this part in order so that you could be, of use later. But if you succumb to the ridicule and say, well, I don't know if I'm 140. You know what? I'm with you guys over here. I'm 144,000, but I'm with the multitude over here. And we get ready to have a big Christmas party or whatever. You're not going to be of use in the end. You're going to be harmed. You're going to be made an example of. You're going to be, the guys that, maybe, end up getting killed, in the end. But it's all right. You're gonna be all right. I mean, we understand now that you're going to be reincarnated. You're gonna get, you're not gonna, go to hell, so to speak, and get thrown in the lake of fire. Remember, the Father said everybody will be saved. Is that you won't be the ones inheriting the earth. Do not become blinded when humanity ridicules you. Do not forget that in the second era, the multitudes mocked the master. Yep, they mocked him. They didn't want to have anything to do with him. And that's exactly what happened to him is what's going on now, where they were expecting the Messiah to come in one form. They thought he was going to come in big kingly garments with purple and raining fire on anybody that said anything bad against him. And he didn't. He came as a humble individual, barefoot and homeless or whatever, and people rejected him. Well, that's the same thing that's going on now. They're rejecting the way he's actually coming, and so remember that that's the way it was then, and that's the way it is now. All right, so let's go on. Looking at verse 144, we know we can't finish this class without looking at verse 144. He says, "In truth I tell you that the world is against you, and therefore I prepare you to know how to defend the cause of your faith with the arms of love and charity." Yeah, the world is against you. And you say, well, why? Is because the world is in love with materialism. The world is in love with disobedience and rebellion, and they want nothing to do with you. When they see you come talking about, hey, we supposed to be following the commandments or doing what the word says, they want you out of there. They don't want you nowhere around. You don't believe it? Go down to the local church and give your testimony. See how many people, try to get you to come in, and talk. No, they're going to try to get you out of there and try to get rid of you. He says, "I prepare you to know how to defend the cause of your faith with arms of love and charity." Now, here are our arms. Here's the spiritual warfare. Some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, we have to know what our weapons are before the battle begins. Love and charity are our main weapons in this war that we're faced with. He says, "I tell you that you will triumph even when your victory is unknown." I mean, they even when it's over, they still ain't gonna, stand up and say, hey, you got no. But you will know, and the Father will know that you are in victory, even though you may still be humble, even though you may still be ignored, even though you still won't have all of the views and likes of the Reverend Pastor Deacon Dr. Doug, or he's still going to be getting all of the tithes money, but you're going to have the victory, and it's through love and charity. We're about to wrap this one up, but let's look at 145. He says, "This time your sacrifice will not be in blood, although you shall know calamity and disrespect." Now, what he's referring to is the last times that the 144,000 were on the scene. Yeah, you have to go back to Moses' time when the 144,000 was supposed to be walking with Moses. Moses was one of the 144,000, but all of his brethren were killed by Pharaoh. When Pharaoh came and destroyed those babies, that's who he was killing. Same thing happened when the Messiah walked the earth. Those were the 144,000 that Herod was trying to kill. Those are the babies that were being destroyed. And he's saying, this time you won't be destroyed. This time we live. This time you're actually going to be able to do your job. But he says you're still going to have to deal with calamity and disrespect. Yep. All the time. That's going to be part of the job. Still, the master shall be there to defend and comfort you. no disciple will be left alone, which meaning even though you're in calamity and being disrespected, you can turn to him, and you will turn to him inwardly, not outwardly. You're not going to find him down there at the church or anywhere else. You're going to have to find that quiet place and talk to the Father there, but it's only after you have, done your preparation so that you can, at least hear from him or whatever. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. Like I said, I don't want to pick on anybody. If you know what your job is and you're on it, stay on it. I'm not trying to change you. I'm just saying for those of us who are a bit confused right now, wondering why such bad things are happening, wondering why things aren't going right, and when it comes down to it, and we start to be harmed for our faith or whatever, I just wanted this to be in the back of your mind. Hopefully these verses will come to your attention when the hard times hit. All right, y'all. In the meantime, let's pray for each other, y'all. Watch some of the other classes that we have posted up. Some of the classes on telepathy, some of the classes on prayer, a lot of classes on the Third Testament. But this is Hermas Academy, so we look into all of the books of the Bible. We do classes on the Old Testament, do classes in the New Testament. And we do classes on Enoch, Jubilees, every scriptural document we can find. That's what we do here in Hermas Academy. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's keep praying for one another. Hermas Academy.